Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. Mishmash Monday. Got a lot to get to. It's a crazy week, you know, this week, the holiday week and everything. Let me show you what's going on at what I've been doing. I cleaned up that area. Remember, we're going to have my meters replaced by Con Edison to these wireless meters so they don't have to come down and check the meter readings. Let me show you what I've accomplished so far. And here we go. You know, again, they have to have access to the meters, and I ain't moving this thing. I hope they can work around it. I mean, it's right here, right? I mean, what do they have to do to these? They can get right to them here. Those are my electric meters, and the gas meters here. You can see I cleaned off this whole bench. They can get to it. Hopefully, that's it'll be in and out. It'll be a quick job. But you know, we were talking about the look what I had to move everything over here. Nuts, right? But anyway, we were talking about shop size. You know, a lot of people say if I had a bigger shop or if I had a nice shop, I would do this. You don't need it. You do not need it, and I'm going to prove that today because I am going to, in this 4-foot by 4-foot area, that's all I'm going to use today. I'm going to do a tool restoration. Here's the area I'm going to be working on. 4-foot by 4-foot, okay? Now, this is the project that I'm going to work on today, okay? Now, this is from my good friend Gary Lee over in the UK. Sent these over here with a few hammers. And check this out, okay? Let's take a look at these. These are, look at this. This looks like it was dredged up from the sea, right? Have you ever seen something that looks like this before? I mean, that, and, you know, the handle's broken, but I figured we would use the handle off of this ball peen because it's kind of an unusual looking handle for that ball peen. And so we're going to remove the ball peen from this, use this handle. It's got a little chip on the bottom, but we're going to utilize this handle. Okay, we're going to make treasure from trash, but it's not trash. Okay, everybody's favorite, the dake. We're going to use the dake to press out the handles of those hammers. And haven't been here in a while, and I'm kind of jonesing to use it again. We're going to have to raise up this bottom plate up a little bit, and I'll show you how we do that. Now, to raise up this plate, where you have to raise it because this only has so much travel, what you do is you lift it up like this. There's pins here, and you can put it any way you want. We're going to put it in the top side over here. Same thing on this side. Bob's your uncle. Okay, one of the most enjoyable uses for a hydraulic press is to press out the handles of an old hammer or something like that, because otherwise it can be a little difficult to get out. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to take any kind of rod, steel rod that we have, we're going to place it over the eye of the hammer and then press that down using the dake, and it should pop. One thing you want to do is you want to make sure it's lined up straight. Okay, we have that lined up. We don't have really any pressure in. Now we're just going to add slight pressure. Okay, we're adding just slight pressure. And what we want to do here is we want to make sure that you have enough that there's clearance that'll pass through. And also we're going to hold everything so it don't spin out or twist. Okay, it's going to go very easily, so I decided to do it in full time. We're going to press this down here until it just pops out the bottom. You'll see here, we're just adding a little bit of pressure. We have about a ton is what it's taken to push this out. And again, you're holding on this so that nothing spits out. And there it is, the handle dropped out. You can see here the handle dropped right out. And we can use that. Okay, now for the other one, again, this is the handle we want to use. Because it's not wide enough to span this gap, we just put 2 steel plates here. We're going to rest it in here. We have a little, just a shim piece of steel here to try and level it off a little bit. And we're just going to use a bolt, a standard bolt, and we have this to protect the tip of the threads, but we're going to place this here. We're going to bring the ram down and push it out. Here you have the same situation. We have this close here. We're going to put our fingers here so this don't shoot out when we're adding some pressure, and we're just going to gently watch down here. We're going to add gentle pressure straight down. And again, you can see how it's pressing it out from the top down. This is by far, you can see how easy it is, and this is real time, by far the best way to remove a handle from a hammer or an axe or anything like that, and just press it down like that until it pops out the bottom. Okay, now wasn't that fun? And you can see here, again, look at that. This thing is rough, isn't it? But we have that. And now we have this handle, and you can see how it just pressed it out. We're going to take this down because this one's going to be on here now. You can see we just have to do a little work to get that on. And, you know, I could actually put this one on this one. I could actually switch handles, but let's get started grinding and sanding this down because we want this to get down to about here, this part of the shoulder. Great tool to use if you're just getting started or you're looking for something as a drum sander. You mount that into a drill or a drill press, and you know, you can contour. You can really do a nice job. You could see on getting that contour over here. Highly recommend a good drum sander. Okay, this is just 15 minutes of just scraping with a single edge razor blade. You can see it took off all the years of grease, patina, everything. We'll give it a light sanding, but and then we'll cut off this very bottom because that is damaged. Okay, we're going to use the angle grinder, starting off with the grinding disc, followed by the coarse flap disc, and then possibly a fine or worn disc. We have it clamped into the corner vise. Again, because it's tapered, we wrapped one end with a rag, and then we're just going to flip it around. Okay, this is about 40 minutes with just the grinder disc. You can see we're trying to get some of those facets back. Just the grinder disc. Now we're going to have to smooth everything out, get out those stains and everything with the flap disc, but we got most of it. And then we'll get the inside, the eye with we'll have to get some sandpaper and around a stick, and it's coming along. It's coming okay. Okay, this is just with the flap disc. Got rid of the stains. Everything's looking good, right? We'll clean everything up, you know, with a secondary. We have to go to the belt sander still, but we have to reshape everything. So everything's coming good. Now we're shaving the handle down. We took out the other wedge that was in there. We drilled a hole at the bottom. We sawed it down, drilled a hole at the bottom so that when this expands, it won't split anymore. And that's where our wedge will go. Now, as you start driving the handle on, you're going to see, you're going to have to keep looking, make sure it's straight, front, back, top, and keep eyeing it up. And don't be afraid to pull the head off and then, you know, relieve a little bit with a X-Acto knife or something to get this to sit just right, because you only get one shot at this. And then we'll put the wedge in later, but it's coming
Okay,
nice.
While we have that handle setting up, you know, for years I've been collecting different catalogs from different eras, different years. I just find them fascinating. I like to look through and see, and you can also determine what kind of hardware that they used to make that they don't make anymore, and also the nomenclature, what to call the certain things that I'm looking for with some of the antiques I collect. But let me show you a couple catalogs I just picked up. Really interesting.
Okay, our first catalog is the Ducommon catalog. You can see how thick it is. It's about the size of a phone book. This one here is from about 1961, this catalog, their catalog S. And Ducommon was the west coast of the United States. They basically were distributors, and you could see their locations and what the buildings looked like back then and where their locations were out of. They did a lot of supplies, like metal supplies and machinery, things like that. And what's interesting, they were around since 1849. They're still in business, but they do, again, they're mostly higher end stuff. But back then, you know, you could buy regular tools through here, and they had a vast array. And look, back in 61, you could still buy these speed indicators like it was a common thing, you know. But they, besides having material and work holding and things like that, which they have in the front of the catalog here, they also have a big tool section in the middle of the catalog, all types of any kind of tools you might need. Look at this simplex jacks. I always get a kick out of this. These don't have really the prices here. They probably had a separate catalog that would go with the prices, but this would, you know, look at all the drills that we like and things like that. I always enjoy looking through these, not just, like I said, for the availability and what was made by certain manufacturers, like you have here the Black & Decker, what we were talking about before, but also what styles. A lot of these styles were discontinued and stuff. So this is a nice catalog. You ever come across one of these, you know, there's a ton of tools in here. There's lots of stuff to look through, lots of materials, things like that. And again, Ducommon, they were out of the West Coast. Okay, our next catalog, I've been looking to pick one of these up for a long time, but they're so expensive. These things run like, you know, $40, $50, you know, for a used catalog. That's a lot of money. This is a Belknap Hardware catalog, and look here, look at the thickness of this catalog. Okay, this is the thickest catalog I own, and when I say it has everything, and look this is obviously in the beginning they show you the, you know, the building. It comes with, you know, envelopes and order forms. But this is, again, another 1961, 46 acres of floor space. I can't even imagine how huge this place must have been to have the stuff they have. Now, I'm just going to take a couple inches here and show you everything that they have. There is nothing in this catalog I don't think that you could want that they don't have. And what I find interesting about this catalog is that it puts the Sears and Roebuck catalog almost to shame. I've never seen so much supplies. And again, it's hardware, but they have so many crossover supplies that you could obviously, and this has prices, but the prices here are list prices. So, and they even say, look at this conversion drill jigsaw. Remember these when they used to have the conversions? But, and this is just out of, they were out of Louisville, Kentucky. So, again, huge catalog, amazing stuff. They have all kinds of, even furniture, things like that. 1961, you could look up anything that you wanted to look up here and find it in this catalog. And, you know, from home furnishings, radios back in the day when, you know, you might want to pick up a nice radio. And again, look at the prices on some of these. Again, these are list prices, but, you know, $90 for a radio back in 61. You know, it's amazing the prices, what some of them cost back then when they do now. I'm going to look up a couple things and get back here. Fishing, flashlights. I just love this stuff. I mean, you can't imagine the kind of things that you can just sit here and look through again. And like I said, it's very similar to a Sears catalog, but no Sears catalog came close to as much as this stuff. I've never seen anything like it. Let me show you some interesting things. As a young man, I might have been interested in toys and things like that when I was younger, especially like the high flyer kites. Remember the high flyers? You used to get them at the supermarkets and things like that. And look at the wagons. Now, this was when wagons were full steel wheels with the hard, you know, the rubber tire. These things were made like tanks. Remember the wagons? And they made so many different styles, and they were all quality, not like some of the plastic stuff they have today. The pedal cars. Remember the pedal cars? You know, you can go in and pick up. They had so many different types of pedal cars back then, you know, and the tractors and of course, who could, you know, remember the hobby horses, you know? These, every kid had one of these growing up when I was a kid. And, you know, I guess now they're considered somewhat dangerous, but very interesting the fact that you can get all that stuff or order it up from the catalog. Lunch boxes. You know, everybody had lunch boxes years ago. Another thing that's kind of fell to the wayside, but, you know, everybody had you know, men brought lunch boxes to work and children brought them to school, you know. So you can get all kinds of the lunch kits, and I still like a lunch box every now and then, you know. I think it's there's something to it. Interesting. Remember can openers, right? Now, as something we take for granted now, you know, you have kind of one type, but look how many different, this is just wall-mounted can openers. And then you had the regular ones, like the ones we used. This is a very good one, you know, the hand type. But remember the wall ones? You know, how many people still have a wall-mounted can opener, you know? So my question is, you can see this here tops in at 4,524 pages. Does anybody know of a catalog bigger than this one here? Remember these maps? I used to get a kick out of these. The ones that told where, you would always see if you, and you were always just outside that, that one ring that would be a little bit cheaper to ship, you were always just like over here. And they must have figured it out that way, but I like when they had those maps.
Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this hammer looked like before we started?
And we're calling this project done. This one here was probably one of the biggest before and after differences, right, of a lot of projects I've done. Let's take a look at what we did here. First of all, as you can see here, it's we gave it some of the facets that it used to have in the top here, and I don't have the lighting I'm used to because, again, that's on the other side there, but we did a nice eyelet in the top here. Again, look at nice finish on there. Everything is bone straight, everything to get this line perfectly straight and to get all the angles and then put a slight curve on the outside. I just think it's such a classic hammer, right? And the handle came out. Now, remember, this handle was off of the ball peen, was off of this one here, and it was, covered in grease and tar. And look how nice we got this. Cut off the bottom here. Gave it some gun stock treatment. 2 coats of shellac. Then waxed it. But, I've been playing with it a lot. So I think it's very nice, right? Look at that, how that tip comes in here. Again, I kept all the facets down. And at the last minute, I rounded it. I just like that profile. But isn't that a classic looking beautiful type hammer? So in closing, a very special thanks to Gary Lee over in the UK for sending this project over today. But it was a lot of work. I wonder if he maybe dredged it up from the sea. I don't know where it came from. It was pretty bad off. I can imagine the life that hammer has had, or what it's seen, or where it's been. I can only imagine. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.